Do. Well, I used to work at a hot dog factory until them robots came along, and now there is no job for me. But I get why'd I start? God, Bimmy, Bimmy. I know what you're already gonna say. Just save it. I know we fucked up. Still, though, Universal Basic Guys. It's a show that's been on my radar for a couple of months now. Well, I know it as a newer Fox animated show. I listened to the theme song and I've watched a couple of clips on YouTube, which a lot of those clips actually come from season one. So it was at least cool getting some context behind those clips. I liked what I saw enough to really want to put it on the poll and to really just actually watch it for myself. Which begs the question, is Universal Basic Guy Season 1 actually good? Because I've heard mixed thoughts on the show. I've heard some people say it's funny and really good, while others say it's painfully unfunny and another example of modern comedy being, well, shit. But hey, I mean, I'm willing to give it a chance. I'm willing to be open minded. Let's dig into all 13 episodes of Universal Basic Guy Season 1 and see if the show really is as bad as they say, or as good as they say, or what's my stance on it, pretty much. 1. Pet projects. Mark buys a monkey for Tammy, only for it to rip Mark's face off. Okay, so I just realized now after I read that episode prompt that I really should, I should explain what the show's about. Basically, Mark Hoagies and his brother Hank used to work at a hot dog factory until them robots came along, and now there is no job for me, but I get $5,000 a month. At least I'm pretty sure it's $5,000 a month. I'd have to re-listen to the theme song again. Either or, basically, they get universal basic income, so they're still able to do pretty much whatever while not really having much of real jobs. So Tammy is Mark's wife, by the way. And in terms of other characters, there's also their neighbor slash friend David and their other sketchy friend Murph. Those two have a whole B plot about Murph buying a snake and David having to help him with that. But as for the main story, Mark getting a pet monkey for his wife Tammy, only for her to obviously not like it because it's a freaking monkey, and the monkey proceeds to rip Mark's face off. How is all of that as a first episode? I actually liked it. I thought it was a good episode. Already on a point for enjoying the show, as I thought this was a good episode. It started kind of slow, admittedly. For the first couple of minutes, I wasn't really feeling it, but I think as I went along, I think once it turned into like a Hank and the monkey driving, I think they really started to pick up in quality for me. It was surprisingly really heartwarming and it was very enjoyable. It was funny, but also surprisingly meaningful. The Mark plotline, while not as good, was still funny. Him having to deal with a ripped off face. At first, trying to not let Tammy know, and then when she does, it's like she has to help Mark with just how he's feeling. By the way, love the joke of Mark trying to take a selfie only for the sensors on that app to be like, I think that's clearly an anus. So that very much got to me. That was like, damn, bro, to say he's ugly at that point, say he's a little fugly bitch. So I guess if I have one complaint, instead the David and Murph stuff felt kind of unnecessary and kind of just there just to be there. It at least does a good job showing off David and Murph well. David being kind of sensitive and not a real manly man, while Murph is just a sketchy dude getting an illegal snake. It's okay, but didn't really make the episode any better. Overall, though, it really is mostly that Hank and Monkey plot that really carries this one for me. It was a really good first episode. So yeah, we're off to a really good start. Hopefully things continue to stay this level of quality. 2. Sunset Cruise. Mark tries fishing on a couple's cruise. Meanwhile, Hank tries to date. Also, David tries a manning up near his wife. Yeah, I thought David was gay too, but I guess not. How good is this one? It's a 3 out of 5. On the higher end of a 3, but at the end of the day, I think the reason why I can't call this a good episode is because I don't really care about the Mark plot in this episode. What? It's so basic. It honestly reminds me a lot of War of the Simpsons from The Simpsons. Except instead of a couple's retreat, Mark and Tam just go on a cruise, which gives Mark even less of a reason to do this. At this point, Mark is just kind of Between these two episodes, it feels like Mark's kind of just a douche. Like, that's clearly the point of his character. He'd rather just fish and, keep trying to get a whale than actually just be on a cruise with his wife. And won't even do karaoke with her just because he doesn't like karaoke. Like, damn, dude, just deal with it. Suck it up. That being said, it'll at least be nice. The other two plot lines definitely fared better for me. I liked Hank. So far, Hank between these two episodes has definitely become my favorite character already. I love how innocent he is, but not like an annoying way. Like, he's dumb, but he's like a caring dumb, whereas Mark is almost kind of an annoying dumb. Him just accidentally rizzing up a girl pretty much, actually having a really nice time with her. I really don't like the forced way they have to end the relationship to keep it all status quo-y, but at least the actual scenes of them were nice. And David was also a lot better here than in episode 1, seeing him trying to be good near his wife, him trying to just finally spend some time with her while instead of her just being busy with work. And I freaking love where the plotline goes. I'm not going to spoil it in case you haven't seen it, but there's a reason why his last name's Jingle Bells, because David's jingle bells get hurt. That is all. So yeah, well, the David and Hank stuff were both good. It's just a shame that the main Mark plot wasn't good enough for me to call this a good episode overall. Still watchable, though. Still definitely like on the higher end of a 3. 3. The Devil You Know. Mark's bonding with Darren causes him to let out the Jersey Devil. Meanwhile, Murphy sends a blow-up doll to David's house. This is unfortunately another 3 out of 5. We meet Darren. Tammy is a son, and Mark's a stepson. He's okay enough in this episode and pretty much the entire season. This whole bit is that he prefers watching gaming and streamers and all that rather than actually like being around his family. Because he's like a 14-year-old. He's in that kind of mood. That's how teenagers in the 2020s are pretty much. So overall, though, it is still a 3 out of 5. I really did not get into this one that much. It felt kind of basic, like Mark trying to bond with Darren, but Mark doesn't even feel like Mark's trying that hard. It feels like he's mostly trying to just goof around in his usual way, but just so happens to have Darren around. And then the ending joke is that the Jersey Devil at first seems like a cool guy, but then he turns evil. But I thought we were friends, and it was so. You'd think by now, I think this dropped in 2024, you would think by now that we as writers would know not to do a dumb cliche like that. Again, though, to be nice, the rest of the episode, once again, wasn't as bad. Well, I shouldn't even say bad, not as mid-tier as that plot. The best part is, once again, Hank being the best character, him bonding with the old dude, the old couple who had the Jersey Devil locked up. Him bonding with the old dude was genuinely wholesome. I actually liked it a lot. And, I mean, the David plot with him having to deal with a blow-up doll that he didn't even know he got was okay. I kind of just felt bad for him, though, so it stopped it from being as funny as it could have been. Watchable, but not anything special. 4. Guys' Day. Mark tries joining an exclusive golfing course. Meanwhile, Tammy sees a feminist group. 3 out of 5. Have, almost nothing to say about this one. Mark is all like, yo, dude, I'm going to stop feminism because, the sexist golfing club. I'm going to go out and I'm just going to join this golfing club and, stand up to them. Only for him to use it as an excuse to have Guys' Day because deep down he doesn't want women around either. So he just tries to he uses the golfing course as an excuse to just hang with his boys because he doesn't really golf all that much. I mean, I've barely played golf. I mostly played mini golf twice in my life, so I can't comment on if golf is actually boring or not, but I do know it's an old person sport, so yeah, an 18-year-old like me ain't really gonna get much out of that champ. The Tammy feminist stuff was also kind of just there. The joke is just that, yeah, that's right. The women are actually doing something super cool and important, and it's like, bitch, I don't care. I really don't care. Hell, Tammy doesn't care. She just wants to golf the whole time. So I, as a viewer, feel even less invested. So yeah, another mid-tier episode. Damn, I thought for episode 1 we were going to be getting a really good show here, but maybe Universal Basic Guys really is as mid as everyone says, because we've had back-to-back 3 out of 5s. Maybe this season really isn't as good as I thought it would be. 4. No, 5, I mean, sorry. Jaws of Life. Mark tries to save a life. Meanwhile, Tammy gets stalked by a guy who she saved from choking. Thank God. Another good episode. 4 out of 5. This one wasn't anything crazy good. Not as good as episode 1, but still I liked it. Mark trying to save a life is, well, it's classic dumb Mark at this point. It feels like almost every episode he's kind of like this. Mark is just being classic Mark. Getting his old friend from the hot dog factory to help him build a robot. That, well, at least more of a mech, I mean. Almost kind of looks like the mech from Alien. Says a guy who's never actually watched an Alien movie, but has seen that, like, that mecha. Then, yeah, it does totally look like it. Maybe that was the inspiration for the design. And I love how Hank is just okay with just operating it. Like, he doesn't really get to do anything cool, but, like, he's still happy to be along for the ride. Again, Mark and Hank have really settled into their dynamic, and honestly, I kind of like it. Even though I wish my boy Hank, maybe stepped up a bit more and like took more command, but it's all good. He's still best character. The Tammy V plot, though, I almost kind of prefer over the Mark and Hank stuff. Seeing this dude just be really weird about things was very funny. It slowly got funnier and funnier as the episode went along. Like, dude was clearly a chud, okay? He's disrespecting Tammy's space, He's being way too weird about it. And at the end of the episode, it's clear that he's kind of just like this. Like, he just cares too much about people saving his life and all that. And at that point, like, dude, just die already. But yeah, good episode. I like this one. Episode 6, Birdcage. Mark becomes the coach for the Eagles. Meanwhile, David tries getting into sports. 4 out of 5. Kind of have the same thoughts here as I did with the last episode. Good, but not anything utterly amazing. As someone who doesn't care about sports, I was still able to get some good laughs out of this one. Seeing Mark, again, being classic Mark, trying to be the coach for the Eagles, but not really knowing what the hell he's talking about. Which honestly is fair. I wouldn't know what the hell I was talking about either. But wouldn't gloat like he did Mark. Same thing goes for David, too. He doesn't even care about sports. He's like me. Couldn't give less of an F about them. But still, he's making an ass of himself just because he wants to be one of the dudes. Like, I get that. I get wanting to be, like, one of the guys. But also, like, David, come on, dude. That's not it, fam. But yeah, overall, solid little episode. I liked them in the jail. That turned out to actually be real, but Tammy thought it was a myth, though. 7, Fight or Flight. Mark pretends to be a pilot. Meanwhile, David spends time with his nephew and niece. Also, Hank gets interrogated. This is another 4 out of 5. Okay, I guess I was wrong about the season being mid. We're really starting to pick up here. This is actually a really good episode. I didn't really like the David stuff, him being around his nephew and niece. The joke is just that, man, kids sure are annoying. It's to be on their little tablets, or I mean their phones, or whatever. Sound like an 88-year-old type being an 18-year-old, but like, whatever, fam. The other two plots, though, fared better, in my opinion. Hank being interrogated because he just brought nothing but hot dogs. Like, if you know Hank, you know he loves hot dogs. There's a reason he worked at the hot dog factory until them robots came along. Okay, I'll stop. And then you got Mark being acting like he's flown before, but really it was just a VR game, so he doesn't really know shit. But then once he accidentally kills the two pilots accidentally, or did he even kill them? I don't think he fully killed them, but he hurt them badly accidentally. Mark isn't like a serial killer. And then him trying to act like what he's talking about because he was in the VR game, trying to do a barrel roll in a commercial airline. I love how angry the dude was. This is one of the clips I watched before actually seeing the show itself. Seeing the dude just go, "You cannot do a barrel roll on a commercial airline." And then Mark's like, up too late, already thinking about it. It's good. This is a really good episode. Again, I wish the David stuff was funnier, but everything else is good enough to make that plotline not as bad. Gotta take a quick drink break. 8. Pa- Pacarnos. Probably said that wrong, but I apologize. Mark and crew stay at a cabin where they play a game where a game they play turns real. Why am I took a drink? That should help me with this, not ruin it. Either way, 4 out of 5 episode. Best episode of the whole show so far. I really got into this one. Admittedly, the David B plot's okay. I feel like the show has a problem with not all the plot. Like one plot line always has to feel weaker in the show, which is definitely something that I think they have to work out in season 2. But for now, it's still okay. It was still solid enough. I like the story he writes at the very end, and then Mark is too stupid to realize it's him wanting to murder Mark and his family. So Mark still being like appreciative of it. That was funny. But overall, that's the main plot line that gets this to a high 4. It was really funny seeing them trying to like actually. It had a good story with teamwork and all that, and I like that Darren was the one to give the moral. Like it's proof that it's proof that Darren, deep down, although he likes to act like he doesn't care and all that, actually does know what he's talking about when he learns to lock in. It's really nice. So yeah, pretty good episode. Seeing a real life witch trial was fun. Definitely an enjoyable one. 9. Mr. Cupcake Man. Cupcake Man, I'm a cupcake man. Look at me, baby, I'm a cupcake man. I'm a bunny man, I'm a bunny man. Look at me, baby. No, Benny. Sweet baby angel, it's not how this works. Mark becomes viral with a song called Mr. Cupcake Man. I love this episode. 5 out of 5. Yeah, I know. I didn't expect Universal Basic Guys to have like a 5 out of 5 episode either, but I mean, I really liked the last episode. I was like, hey, that's the best one so far. But then this one comes around and is like, okay, max rating time. Hell, if you've seen my reviews for them, you know that Simpsons, Family Guy, and South Park were not able to get any 5 out of 5s in their season 1s. But bam, Universal Basic Guys is like, Cupcake Man's like, hold my beer. I can't really help explain why, because the story is fairly basic if you really look at it. It's the generic character becomes viral plotline, but I can't help it. The jokes here just land. Maybe it's because I've now become a content creator so for like well over a year now, so I kind of get a little bit of this. Like Mark wanting to take the brand super different and trying to act like he's the guy. That's a little relatable to me, so which I think makes it even funnier. Him trying to make Cupcake Man all edgy because he wants to really relate with his baby audience, identifying as an asexual and trying to make a song about tantrums. Like that shit is just funny. I can't explain it. It's just funny to me. Even the B plot with like Murph trying to kill this dude in the hospital that like he owes money, and that's also funny, and that's a good plot as well. For once, both plot lines are like equally good to me. Well, not equally good, but they're both really enjoyable to me, which is really nice because that was a problem with past episodes. So yeah, just a top tier episode. So far, this is definitely the one to recommend if you want to look for a good Universal Basic Guys episode. It really is the show playing at its best strengths, and I really like it. 10. Mark Man. Mark and Hank work at an ad agency. Meanwhile, Murph tries to kill a guy he owes money to. Wait. No. Dude, I'm so stupid. The Murph stuff was in this one, not Cupcake Man. Got Cupcake Man so peak, it pulls the B plot of the next episode to it. That's how peak Cupcake Man is. So yeah, sorry, I looked like a stupid idiot stupid back there, but I'm working on it, okay? So Cupcake Man, I think at most the B plot of that one was like David wanting to do something too. Well, but in this episode, yeah, this is the one where Murph tries to kill a guy. You already know I like that stuff. But how about the main plot line? I think it's a 4 out of 5. This is another really good episode. Again, I don't know how to explain it, but it feels like now the show just gets how to be funny. Mark trying to like be the shark, like okay, like when he's asking me coffee, it's like okay, you want coffee? Yeah, guess what? You get shark brew. And then it's really just like laxatives and all that. It's good stuff. The ending, though, is what I really like about it. Sure, it might seem a bit, status quo-y, but I think it still manages to work. What I like about it is that at first Mark, for once, it just helps David out. Okay, he's not just being his usual self, his usual like self-centered ways. He actually genuinely tries to help out his brother for once, instead of just using him once again. Which already I was like, oh damn, wait, Mark does that. Then at the end, Hank quits the job he was very successful at. You know, he was doing way better at the acting than Mark ever was, but gives it up because he just wants to hang out with his brother. That was cool as hell. Like, sure, again, it's a little forced, but it's worth it to get a sweet ending. It's a really good episode. Definitely check this one out. 11. Sheet Shock. Mark and Hank join buds. Also, David writes memoirs for an ex-army man. Damn, another 5 out of 5. More top-tier Universal Basic guys. Did not expect that. Mark gets PTSD over making a bed. That is hilarious. I almost don't even want to say anything else because I feel like just explaining that in a sentence is just funny enough. It carries so much of this one for me. I freaking love it. Mark especially when he comes home and like talks with Tammy, but like he's all serious now, like just looking out the window with his mug, like to get the fuck out of here. And then he gets joined for like a real mission because this dude didn't even realize he's not like a real bounty hunter. Eagle Eye does not mean he's a sniper. Eagle Eye just means that Mark is an idiot who likes to look cool. And of course, Hank actually did it well. Hank is just better than Mark. We all know this. It's like Luigi being better than Mario or American Dad being better than Family Guy. It's so obvious that like come on, it's obviously better. So yeah, Hank and Mark being a part of the serious mission is funny. David's B plot admittedly starts off kind of weak, but let's just say once they go through the portal, shit gets interesting, and also portrays a very good story about like how sometimes the crazies may actually be low key right about some things. This is another top tier episode. 5 out of 5. Definitely check this one out. 12. Deer Stakes. Mark and Hank go to the forest to bow hunt. Meanwhile, David tries to keep deer from his garden. Unfortunately, not a lot of thoughts. It's a 3 out of 5. It exists. I don't know. This feels like more of a, pardon the pun, basic Universal Basic Guys episode, Like, it feels like it takes the usual beats from an episode, but doesn't really do anything that funny or creative with them. Like, okay, here's the Mark and Hank plot's very basic for them. Like, it's just Mark being an idiot, having a bow, trying to bow hunt, not really knowing what he's doing. All the while, their ex-coworker Doug from the hot dog factory until their robots came along. Okay, I'll stop. Anyways, but yeah, it's okay, but like they make it way too obvious that Doug's the killer, and it's like that Doug's a murderer. I mean, and then Mark genuinely kills Doug at the end, which at least that's kind of shocking in a kind of good way, but kind of also not anything special. Now, Bimmy, I'll let you review the B plot of this episode, the deer stuff, since you are in fact an animal yourself. Bimmy, how'd you like the B plot of David, keeping up his garden, but then the freaking deer, the deer won't just go away, How is it? Okay, so if someone who hates deer, the gate that Murph got, killing all the deer, very cathartic, very. If I don't have any genitals, but if I did, I would have been like, oh, dude, yeah, this is so much better than having a girlfriend. Dude, what the fuck? I mean, man, it was so funny. I used to work at the hot dog factory until the robots came along. No, you don't get that anymore, Bimmy. Lost your theme song privileges. For this review, at least. Yeah, mid-tier episode. 13. Water Ice Shoppy. Mark helps with the local water ice shop. We end the season with a 4 out of 5. I like this episode, but even if it is definitely on the lower end of a 4, unfortunately, kind of a shame we didn't end with like another 5 or anything. But you know what? Good episode is still good. I really just didn't like the ending. Look, okay, the very end, like the credit scene, was kind of cute, but like the actual ending to the storyline made me honestly felt like it went against the message that the whole show tries to bring. I'm not trying to spoil it in case you haven't seen it, but let's just say I wasn't a fan of it, and as someone who doesn't like that, even think about that type of thing already, it made me feel kind of uncomfortable, low key. I hate acting like one of those stupid Gen Zers who's like, "Oh, Slay's thing makes me uncomfortable." But like genuinely, it was like, okay, dude, okay, I don't really like what you're spreading here. Again, though, beyond that, the rest of the episode is solid enough. I think the main problem I have with the season is that it feels very repetitive. Every episode is pretty much just Mark effing things up, and also Hank being naive as hell. Which, as you can see, I mostly enjoyed, but like I feel like you could have done a bit more. It's kind of like the first season of Solar Opposites, where like every episode was like a Terry and Corvo A plot with a Yumulak and Jesse B plot, and maybe a random C plot here or there. Like it's good, but like add some more variety to it, so I'm not just watching the same thing over and over. Overall, though, a solid little finale, even if it is a bit unremarkable. Mark. Alrighty, rating time. At the bottom, with the 3 out of 5s, we have The Devil You Know, Guy's Day, Deep Stakes, and Sunset Cruise is the one that gets in the top 10 despite also being a 3. Then for the 4s, we have Water Ice Shoppy, Birdcage, Jaws of Life, Fight or Flight, Pet Projects, Markmen, and Pocanos. And for the 2 5 out of 5s, we have Sheet Shock and Mr. Cupcake Man. So yeah, if you couldn't tell already, I'm definitely on the positive side of Universal Basic Eyes, at least for season 1. I have no idea how season 2 is, and apparently in September they're making season 3, so I technically do get 2 more seasons to sit through. Well, I'm not even sure if they're picked up for season 4 or not, but I don't know. I mean, judging from season 1, I kind of hope they do because I like this season. It's what I like about it is that it almost kind of reminds me of a bit of Simpsons, except even more fantastical, where it's like, yeah, sure, it's a mostly grounded universe, but still, we can do crazy shit if we want to. Unlike Simpsons, though, where they wait until like roughly season 4 to do this more magical, to do more wacky stuff, Universal Basic Guys are from episode 1. Episode 1 involves Mark's face being ripped off. They kind of let you know from the start, this isn't going to be just a completely King of the Hill, Bob's Burgers type of realism. And honestly, I kind of like that. Like, don't be wrong, I can like that type of realism too. I still freaking love King of the Hill and Bob's Burgers, but also it's like some balance is nice, you know? So yeah, overall, I'm not seeing Universal Basic Guy Season 1 as like some top tier amazing experience. Again, it can feel a little bit repetitive at times, and as much as I like Mark, he can definitely be a bit too aggravating at points. But still, a good season. I definitely enjoyed it, and curious to see what Season 2 brings. I'll see you guys next time.